Hmm. Because it's really like still very hard to put it into picture and content. As you say, like for this developing world or where the conflict is raging, we are always finding like the maybe the local population is running, but and then you have also other people who are seeking shelter or trying to find refuge in that specific country. For example, where I was born in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, you have Congolese people running whether to Zambia or Uganda or Tanzania as refugees, but and then you have like people from Central Africa Republic or people from South Sudan trying to find safe haven in Congo, where there's also like thousands of people like living also seeking refugee elsewhere. Like as a humanitarian, as a representative for UNHCR, like can you try to put this logic into picture or give us more contents on what happens in these countries where like the movement is so large and how the developed world can also do the share part?
No, it's amazing to see the movement of population that you very well described vis-à-vis DRC, the Congo, or vis-à-vis Yemen. Population who are trying to leave, population who are arriving, population who decide not to cross an international border because
Mm-hmm.
they fear about becoming a refugees and they prefer staying displaced in their own country. We call them the internally displaced persons. This is the
Mm-hmm.
case in Yemen and in Congo.
Yeah.
But what is absolutely amazing is the resilience of all those people and the
Mm-hmm.
welcoming of the population. In Yemen, you have population who have lived 5 years of conflict, every
Mm-hmm.
year who live through the cholera, who
Yeah.
often do not have enough to eat themselves, who
Wow.
often are sharing a tent or a destroyed house with 2 or 3 other Yemeni families, and
Mm-hmm.
they are ready to keep the door open to those Somali refugees. And when
Wow.
they see somebody who
Mm-hmm.
is even more in need than them of assistance, of help,
Mm-hmm.
of being cared for,
Yeah.
they will go the extra mile to help them.
Wow. That is
And
very,
I
very
think this is
noble.
something we have to, yeah, this is something noble and something that we have to remember when we think about our own situation back in Europe or in Northern America. A lot
Mm.
of Canadians have opened their door and their heart, and thank
Yeah.
God, millions of
Mm.
Canadians are ready to help and
Mm-hmm.
assist from helping people with a shelter to helping them find a job or helping the children doing their homework or
Yeah.
just donating money to many of those organizations and charities in Canada who are helping. But we need to do more for countries like Yemen
Mm-hmm.
because the Yemeni who are receiving those Somali refugees in particular have
Yeah.
very little to share. It's
Wow.
extremely difficult for them.
Mm-hmm.
And we are on the verge in Yemen of not being able to support anymore neither the refugees nor the Yemeni. And
Wow.
that's when
Mm-hmm.
tension may start appearing because the two communities
Mm-hmm.
will feel abandoned by the rest of the world and will start competing for the very meager resources like
Mm-hmm.
having access to potable water or to food. This is not
Mm-hmm.
in their nature.
Yeah.
The Yemeni are a very welcoming population, but they
Mm-hmm.
need our help for them to be able to help their Somali brother and sister.
Well, okay. So thank you very much for that very great explanation. And then when you talk about in terms of help for the Yemenis and the refugees also in Yemen, I understand on June 2nd there was a donor conference put together and some money was trying to be collected to help the Yemenis population and also the refugees. So how is the international appeal like for the support to be met? And what is the effect to the ongoing UN programs in Yemen? Has the money been raised or what?
So half of the money that we were asking has been raised. And
Okay.
therefore, on one side, you can see the half full glass,
Mm-hmm.
and we thank the donors, in particular
Yeah.
Gulf countries like the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, but
Mm-hmm.
European and the US and Canada pledged 40 millions for the response in Yemen. So we thank those countries, but on the
Mm-hmm.
other end, we can see the half empty glass.
Wow.
And for us on the ground, the half empty glass means that we will have to make drastic choices in terms of who we assist with what. Will
Mm-hmm.
I assist the family to get a bit of cash money
Mm-hmm.
to buy medicine and food, or shall I prioritize the family who has been newly displaced and distribute to this family a tent, an emergency tent,
Mm.
so that their children will not sleep at night in the open at a time where we have flooding, coronavirus, and many other communicable diseases. Those are the
Mm.
choices I and my colleagues will have to make because
Mm-hmm.
we won't be able to assist everybody. When you miss half
Wow.
of the money,
Mm-hmm.
for every decision, there will be a yay and there will be a nay. And those
Wow.
are ethical decisions which are very difficult to take.
Yeah. Well, it's very a challenge, as you say, like half of the money needed has been met, and then you have to choose which people to help or which area of the support really to offer to people. But what extra challenges that this conflict and ongoing pandemic and diseases pose in terms of to children and young people specifically when you look at education or other young people affected by this conflict?
So education has been stopped in Yemen, like in many countries. The schools have been closed to
Mm-hmm.
prevent the spreading of the coronavirus. We
Okay.
had to close our community centers where we were doing a group session for children, but also adolescents. And
Mm.
it's very important to deal with adolescents. You come yourself from a country where we
Yeah.
have seen a lot of child soldiers
Yeah.
of
Mm-hmm.
12 to 15, 16 young men, but also women who are forcibly recruited by the armed groups
Yeah.
to fight. And it's
Wow.
not really a choice from either those kids, because they are
Mm-hmm.
children, or
Yeah.
their parents. It's just out of necessity when you have nothing else to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you make the choice to join an armed group. It's not really
Wow.
a choice. You are being forced to
Yeah.
make this
Mm-hmm.
choice. And therefore, because of the coronavirus, we have been forced to reduce all those activities. We have
Mm-hmm.
been forced to cut our programs of livelihood, of
Wow.
mentorship for young people to start perhaps a little business as a mechanics or as a
Yeah.
barber for the boys or as a beauty parlor
Mm-hmm.
and perhaps sewing for women or anything they want to do. We don't have to
Yeah.
divide according to those gender stereotype. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
women can be mechanics as well,
Yeah. For sure.
and
Huh, yeah.
some men
It,
may decide to work in a beauty parlor. Even
mm-hmm.
if in a country like Yemen,
Yeah.
because of social norms, it's very difficult for young people to escape those gender stereotypes.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point of the matter is that the coronavirus and the lack of funding has
Mm-hmm.
very much reduced our capacity to help the young population.
Wow.
And the longer we stay without being able to be in contact with them, be
Mm-hmm.
able to have activities specific to their needs,
Mm-hmm.
the longer they will lose hope and
Wow.
may turn to those negative coping mechanisms
Mm-hmm.
of making or being forced to make the bad choices.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always very a challenge because especially also from the experience and from the research and the work I've done also of young people, it's always a challenge when you have conflict going on, disease going on, unemployment at a record high, and then you have young people. Like if young people are idle, then most of them they end up like other, as you say, like child soldiers or thefts or gangs or just other uh, activities which cannot really benefit their lives as it should be.
Yeah, they don't have a choice. It's a
Mm-hmm.
survival coping mechanism,
Yeah.
which
Mm-hmm.
may involve survival sex, which is a polite way of referring to forced prostitution,
Mm-hmm.
in particular for young girls.
Wow.
It may be joining indeed criminal gangs or even armed groups, or it
Mm-hmm.
may be simply being desperate and starting using drugs and other palliative to
Mm-hmm.
escape your dark reality.
Wow.
A lot of young people are very resourceful, and a lot of young people, we have to recognize, have a lot of strength and resilience, and will fight for what is right for
Mm-hmm.
themselves and for their families.
Yeah.
But doors are closing, and we need to be able to do more for them
Mm-hmm.
now, whether it's linked to the coronavirus or linked to the conflict or linked to
Mm-hmm.
the fact that they are refugees in a country like Yemen, which does not offer a lot of opportunities for them to
Yeah.
grow and to become the adults they want to be.